So the plan actually backfired. The one thing that I said, I may or may not have said it, that was going to make it backfire actually happened. They decided not to go. I was actually imagining all this time, the time that I'm finally looking at them on my map, finally leave. I was thinking like actually be in the sky, but no, on the map you can actually see what part of the airport people are in. Maybe not the floor, but at least the location. And so yeah, I did the escape. I chickened out when I almost left. I was in the hallway and I forgot my phone. So I couldn't, and then when I went into that car, the car that was picking us up, I couldn't, but like, there's no way I'm doing this. I felt like I was in a movie when you feel like when your escape plan isn't working. Oh my God. Either way, afterwards, after I left, I was getting calls left and right. I ended up giving them the address of where I was staying, and still them being at the airport when by the time I was on the phone with them on the way. Anyway, when I got to the location, the Airbnb, I was looking at my map. I was so restless. I couldn't even take off my clothes. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't do anything until I really hoped that they were gonna leave. And we were on the phone. They were like, we can't leave without you. Of course, like I said, I'm a puzzle piece. I'm a pawn. You simply want me there for show. It's just to complete the traditional thing of we're a family. And just because you want to hold on to me and control me, not because you actually want me to be there. How do they treat me? Do they treat me like they want me to be there? Are they acting all of these times like they want me to be there? No. I decided to give in because I knew that with them staying, I was gonna be monitored. I was not gonna be comfortable knowing that they were gonna pop up any minute, making so much noise, maybe ruining my reputation as an Airbnb guest, and possibly being super duper extra, and the owners of the building being upset. So awful, awful, awful. I'm like, let me just take my bags, let me go. When we got back home, all in the span of less than 4 hours, they were giving me all these options. Not before the screaming at me, of course. The tears and the theatrics of this would have happened, this would have happened, this would have happened. Yes, it's actually way more intense than those few sentences. But by the way, it's really insane that so many people my age, 20 years old and even older, grow up feeling so guilty for coloring outside the lines in any way, with parents that will make the opportunities for you to color outside the lines so huge. Like, you literally have this tiny, tiny, tiny circle of abilities, of options, no matter how old you get, and it's never anything else. It's insane. They were doing all of this claiming of, I should have said something earlier, they would have done something, they would have found somebody for me to stay with if I spoke to them before the day or the day of. But bruh, when you live with parents like these, or when you live with people who know their patterns, we all know that all know how our parents are. We naturally keep track of their patterns, their responses, their reactions over the years, whether intentionally or unintentionally. And you know for a fact that when your parent says they would have done something, I would have done this, no, they would not have. It's so easy for them to say that afterwards. Of course. They were speaking to my family members and everything. Please, whatever. Honestly, if only at least one of them was on my side, which I don't know what side they're on, but maybe there's no sides. But we're the youngest. Like, all of my mom's family members had kids before us. So let's see. And either way, oh, by the way, I'm home now with them. They're booking a second flight, actually. Like, it's crazy. You would really give up what you're about to do because of because of one person, and try to make them feel guilty the whole time. But I was gonna film so much. But yeah, they gave so many options about either me staying here, and then they were like, nah, because of the danger and the keys situation, and me staying with this person, 3 whole weeks doing this. And with every option that they were giving, I was thinking about how I was going to pivot. And it's crazy because I've been having to think about pivoting since January with all my situations. When it comes to money, job, car, have had to think so much about pivoting. And it's crazy because it's August and I'm still trying to turn super duper sour lemons into lemonade. I'm not even pivoting with situations of similar challenges anymore. The challenges just keep getting worse and worse and worse. But yeah, clearly I'm not gonna get to film anything. I was gonna go to pop-up shops. I was gonna try to go to car meets for the very first time. I missed it out on it before in March. What was it? May like 4th, 5th, 2024. I mentioned this in the things that I never got to do in the summer. The things I never got to do as a teenager on that episode on my podcast. I ended up giving the tickets away to Nick. Super duper sad that day. I actually asked him, yo, block me from your story. Please, I do not want to see any of this. Please, please, please. That was such a horrible time, but clearly that's gonna have to happen again with me missing out on these things. But bro, I did not want to bring this into 21. Things about them. Now that was the update. So if you want to listen to this about my parents and the real on struggling with this, because I'm not a podcast host and a YouTube person who talks about her past. This girl is actively going through this. I was gonna give up my dream and stuff, but I don't know. I do want to still leave December at the very latest. So, of course, they see me as this rebellious little girl, this rebellious teenager. Selfish, of course, as I have talked about that word being used to describe me over and over and over again. It's insane because I know some people will really grow up thinking that they are, and including their parents in everything. You see those type of scares that your parents give you, those type of tears and the screaming at you and tears and tears and tears will really get so many people to include their parents in everything because they feel so guilty because of the way that their parents are and leaving them out of things, even though if it has nothing to do with them. Yeah, there was no reflection at all from their part. They only focused on their feelings. They didn't see at all that what I was doing, what their 20-year-old daughter was doing, was a reflection of how controlling they are and how they don't listen or hear and care about consent. They don't. Of course, they say I could have said something, but no, absolutely not. The control and we choose for you attitude was going on throughout the whole time, begging me to go back to the airport, telling me to do this, giving me all of these options, like, and even with the options of me staying with somebody, now that they're gonna rebook for someone, which I'll ask once, why can't I just stay here at least even just for a week? Meanwhile, I finish my SYP, but I don't know. I'll just try to finish that up. But if I have to go, I'll go. You'll see my plans a little bit later on in the video. They told me to pay them back. I'm just gonna hurry up and give them $3,000. I mean, I did. The reason why I ended up doing that was because the reason why I'm not gonna feel bad about that is because the amount of money you have saved is not as important as the amount of money that you're making. So it's whatever. I'm gonna be doing so many things still behind their back because clearly, look at the way that they are throughout everything. No autonomy. So it's clear that they would want me living like this forever, like straight up, unless all the options they were giving me were monitored, preferably heavily monitored. Why don't you go with this person? Why with this person? Why with this person? Everything all throughout my life. And I feel like, I don't know how to describe this feeling. Like, you feel like a little kid, but you also feel disgusted with yourself. Like, why do you see me as such I don't know, like a little egg that needs to be monitored, kept tabs on, videoed? I don't even know. It feels horrible, 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 horrible. And if you want this person to be monitored so bad, don't you feel like you failed as a parent in not teaching your kid stuff? Constantly talking about this could have happened to you. We all know what moms say that can happen to you all the time. Like, I couldn't go to parks. I've never had a park day. I've never gone to the gym because of that. This is gonna happen to you. This is gonna happen to you. She talked about that while I was at the airport, that someone could have done something to me there, and while they were looking for me in the lift, and when I got on the street, and in the actual Airbnb. Like, bruh, how much of a cruel person do you have to be to teach your kid to be scared in this way? Especially as a girl, especially as a parent who never gives any other alternative. I'm not saying the alternative of monitoring. Well, even if you wanted to monitor me, track my location, but don't fiend asking me questions the whole time. Track my location and actually let me go to somewhere I want to go, better said. Let me actually go with people that I want to go. That has never ever been a thing. If it was up to them, life like this, work and home would be my life forever. Never going out at night. Never ever going out super early in the morning. Never living alone. We talked about, actually later on they asked me if I wanted to leave. I said before July, but I'm definitely, that's just to soothe and just to initiate the conversation in there. Put the idea out there, because I definitely want to do it before the end of this year. I do want to contact one specific person, the only person I know that also wants to leave home. So I want to contact that person to see if we can do some sort of roommate situation temporarily, at least for like 6 months. And it's still crazy that my parents never understood that I wanted to do things. Like, they're not the people that go out, they don't date, they don't hang out with people, they don't go out to eat together. We've never done things for real as a family. Like, my goodness, never an aquarium. There has been a farm one time, let's just say that. Never an aquarium, never walking just to walk, but like actually walking in a really nice place just to walk. None of that, none of that, none of that. They need to change the way they see so many things. It's honestly so awful to see that they think of life, especially my mom, as a real life nightmare horror show. Like, you're so scared, like you, and this goes back to the fact that they don't live life. Like, they don't understand what it's like to want to do things and stuff, because it goes back to that. You can't even sympathize with the natural thing of, I want to go out, I want to do this. Like, why couldn't you do things with your kids past 6 p.m., before 8 a.m.? Why couldn't you expose yourself and your family to more things? So that this extreme fear and anger towards your children wanting to live lives no matter how old they get and no matter how normal the thing is decreases. Why couldn't you do those things? They also say that just because you're this age, you think you could do this. Just because you're this age, you think you could do this. Like, that is so undermining. Because just because I am that age does mean I can do that. They were like, just because you're about to be 21 or just because you're 20, something like that, that you can choose to do this. And it's like, bruh, it does. Also, when you say things like that, it pushes a child even further, because now they know you don't take their age seriously. You don't take their growing up seriously. Now they know, as the child, that there's pretty much no possibility of them seeing themselves as their own person unless they take a drastic measure, unless they do something. Like, I actually thought and really sympathize with people who get married just to get away. I actually see that. And so giving somebody consequences because they found themselves forced to take drastic measures because you, as a parent, do not treat them as an autonomous young adult, is absolutely crazy. Like, I am standing my ground. You would not have let me not go if I did not do this drastic thing. And they're not reflecting on it at all. It's not like, oh, why can't our kid trust us to do this? It's like, why is she being dumb and not saying this? Why is she being dumb and not saying this? That's really what it is. And that's really bothering me, but whatever. I wanted all of this to be done by 21. I did not want to bring this type of sheltered lifestyle into 20. Why am I still able to say sheltered as a person well over 18? Riddle me that. Bruh. Well, so now my plans, now that I'm supposedly going to be staying at somebody else's house for 3 weeks, of course, no harm to them. My mom is telling me about wearing appropriate clothes because a man is going to be there, still talking about this is going to happen to you, this is going to happen to you, this is going to happen to you constantly. And she said, I know he's not going to. Like, bruh, we know what you. I do want to hurry up and get this license because one of the biggest prize that I really wanted to have was being able to say that I did certain things before 21. I want to be able to say that before I started my 20s, I did certain things, and one of those things is getting my license. I really want to do that. I was thinking to quickly get a car and then an apartment before the year is over. But if it's not the greatest car, it's like whatever. There are a couple apartment postings that I'm going to be contacting instead. You know, those low income ones. Clearly, that's going to be what I'm going to have to go for. I know the information about the guarantors, different type of guarantors, third party ones. Right now, I'm definitely going to be studying medical coding. I really want to work as a medical coder. Of course, people always talk about, since anybody can learn anything, but not everybody can actually get the hours or get the first job experience, or in this case, I do want to work at a hospital. If I have to be a volunteer, like even just for 2 weeks, I might consider it. But for now, I just want to work a hospital job. And then through that, get into medical coding. Also be calling so many places for apprenticeships, any training. Because, bro, there are so many people who don't pay for courses. I paid $1,000 and a little bit for mine. There are so many people who don't pay for courses, or they get things through their college. This is like one of the greatest places to do networking. Another thing is that I'm going to be learning marketing skills. Clearly, content creation pays. Like, when I tell you, content creation pays, but there's only so much that you can do when you are not filming, when you do not show enough examples, enough angles of yourself. Like, I can't even do a get ready with me with the way this bedroom looks, all the angles, with the way the kitchen is. I can't even show my drinks. I can't even show the living room. I can't even show the bathroom with how horrible everything looks. So unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to do that still. Hopefully next year, I'll do everything to get by with other types of marketing skills and content skills for now. And especially when I come back after these 3 weeks, go even harder on content and marketing, especially for Q4, because a lot of money is made in these last 3 months of the year, as a lot of us know. From now on, my plan is to tell them things right up until they're actually happening, because I know for a fact they are not being truthful when they say that they're gonna help me, because I don't even want them to be part of so many things. Do you know how humiliating, and I've said this before, it is for a person to have stopped you, prevented you, make it so much harder for you to do something, and all of a sudden they want to help? No, I want to take this road test alone. I'm going to get this license alone. And they're just gonna have to stay mad about it, honestly. I actually thought about if I was gonna stay living here for God knows what, and they weren't gonna rebook this flight, the typical rebel young, start staying out later, start staying out after work, use work as an excuse. I was thinking about doing that, although I can't use the DOE as an excuse. I would use a hospital as an excuse more, because they're not gonna know when it's open or when it's closed. So there's that. And yeah, 3 more weeks. 3 weeks. 3 weeks. I really want to make sure that I'm able to, you know, not happy about any of this. Have been thinking a lot about Nick, like, yo, you really have a life not like mine. I stayed stuck at 17. I never had the summer at 17 that I wanted to have. And you did. I didn't want to bring anything into 21 years old. I'm gonna be 21 next week. And if that's how things have to be for the very last time this year, because I don't want to tell myself, next year is my year. Next year is my year. And I actually was gonna do like a series. I'm gonna show right here. The series was gonna be Operation Move Out. Over here, I never filmed it. What did I write in there? Yo, if I have to find a Section 8 real quick just to do a transitional housing, I'll do it. I really, really will. Well, let's see what goes on. Peace.